Milk is not the only thing our sheep produce ongoingly. They also grow wool, which we shear once a year. This autumn, I took some of this wool to our friend Bridget, who, amongst other things, is a professional spinner. This is Bridget's spinning wheel. Bridget shows us how to spin, ply, and make a skein out of spun wool.
It's powered by foot, and there's a pedal here. And as you can see, the pedal goes up and down. And
just go up and down there for a second.
Okay, hold on to this. Okay, and it obviously goes straight right over the top as well when I'm ready.
Yeah.
And that is attached to an axle, sort of bent axle here, which is rigid. And it goes through the middle, and this is fixed, so it spins the wheel. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the power of the wheel, if you like. And there is a drive belt here. The drive belt here is made of cotton string, and there's a tensioner here. Okay, so it's at about full tension now, so you need it reasonably tight. And that in turn turns the spindle here. Okay.
Oh yes, pretty tight, isn't it?
See that? Which is this part here again.
Yeah.
That is fixed. And this is loose, and that is the spool where the wool gets stored as you spin it.
Yeah.
And that is detachable. Right, most people when they start have a bit of a problem keeping a continuous thread. So it's just a question of trying again, and continuing this thread. Also, you've got to make sure that you allow it to go in. Do you see it's gathering on the bobbin here? You see this is what I just spun? Because if you hold it back, it overspins. So you've got to get that quite right as well. So there's quite a few things to think about. But at this stage, I kind of do it automatically. But when you're learning, it's not really that easy.
The yarn gets guided over a set of hooks onto the spool or bobbin. The different hooks ensure that the wool gets rolled up on the spool evenly. Every so often, the setting needs to be changed to a different hook. Bridget uses the spun wool for knitting. In the midst of winter, we hugely appreciate the cosy woolly hats she makes. So, and that pedalling, how hard is it? Could you just keep going, or is it?
Sit there and do it for 5 hours.
Yeah,
if I needed
you
to.
don't need special leg muscles or something, or maybe you have them already.
Oh, I've already got those leg muscles. Picture my hairy legs. Yes, that's lanolin, that yellow stuff. Yeah, lanolin, that's the natural oil. And this is a tensioner. This is a funny peg. See the peg?
Yeah.
Which goes in there. Now they've used this method, which I find very efficient and very easy for tensioning how fast the wool gets taken onto this. And it goes along here, through a yoke there, up around here, around this, and onto a hook the other side. Less tension. That's slower onto this.
Yeah.
And that would be faster onto this. So you gauge it as you go. It's going to be too fast there.
So it makes the spindle spin faster or slower,
It does.
Is that it? Yeah. And why would you want it to spin faster or slower?
If it's nearly full, you need just that little bit more force to pull it in. Or if you want a very, very loose thread, it pulls it in that much faster. There, do you see this one is just building up this side?
Yeah. Oh, so you have to change the setting again soon, is it?
Yeah. Yep.
After spinning the loose wool into yarn, the yarn can be plied. For this, 2 or more strands of yarn are twisted together in the opposite direction to which they were spun. Bridget shows us how to ply with 2 yarns. First, she takes the full spool off the spindle and puts it with another full spool onto stakes at the bottom of the wheel. An empty spool goes onto the spindle. She uses a homemade wire hook to feed the end of the yarn through the hole in the spindle axle.
This is a homemade hook.
Hang on, a homemade hook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put it through the hole. Out through the other hole. And pull it through.
These yarns were spun clockwise, so Bridget now starts the wheel anti-clockwise for plying them together.
Well, we have to make sure that this actually joins. So I'm just going to be spinning and just so that this joins. Okay, so that's the first part. And then we start applying.
That's 2 yarns now
You'll
together.
see them quite
is
clearly
it?
because one's dark and one's light. Okay.
Would you ever ply with more than 2 yarns?
You can do. There are different methods of plying. I always use this method. It depends very much on the size of this hole here, because if the size of the hole dictates how thick you can get the wool,
of course. Yeah. So with a different spinning wheel, you might have a bigger hole and might.
Yeah, I suppose theoretically you could. Yeah. And if you want to have a close up of that to see how that's going.
It's very pretty, isn't it? It's all brown and white.
So now we're going to continue. And that's broken, so what we do, we just simply join it on again.
And that's what happens sometimes. It just, yeah.
We have to speed this bit up.
Finally, Bridget makes a skein out of the plied wool so that it doesn't all get tangled up when she washes it.
And you can go and wash it, and when you wash it you need to be very careful and not to felt it, so you just use very mild detergent, cool water, and you don't pummel it, and then you dry it. It's a good idea to hang it and dry it under tension, because otherwise it might sort of snarl up a bit. And just do that, and that kind of stores it there. That is your finished product.
Beautiful.
So it's gone from that to that.
So maybe we'll come along as again, and you can give us an introduction to knitting next time.